We're going to do it. We're going to get all the videos first time. That's what we're going to do. Okay, one of the questions I've been asked is, what is stimming? So stimming, or self-stimulation, is where people do repetitive patterns of behaviour, whether it's vocal stims, rocking backwards and forwards. There's all sorts of things that are repetitive behaviours that you can see that people do. Often it's those people with autism or ADHD or stuff like that do these stims. Now, why are they doing the stims? Sometimes it's for self-stimulation, so it's to get themselves excited because they like doing those sorts of things. Sometimes it's because they need that sensory input and they're not getting it, so they need to feel like they're constantly in motion and those sorts of things. Sometimes though, it is to help calm themselves, it's to help regulate themselves. So if they're panicking and the world's going very different, sometimes you might rock backwards and forwards because you find that reassuring. And if you stay in that reassuring position, then the world's a better place. Sometimes it's creating a predictable routine. So if they're unsure of what's happening or things are changing, they can predict their movements because they are doing the same movement on repeat. Now, one of the main things, so I teach about this and stuff like that, and whenever I train about stimming and stuff like that, I use the example of, what would you do if you won the lottery? You'd jump up and down, you'd flap, you'd do all sorts of things, you'd be screaming from the rooftops. And so one of the best quotes I've ever heard is Barry Brazant, that turns around and goes, well, actually all autistic behaviour is human behaviour. So all stims are behaviours that we would ordinarily do, just taken to a different level. The only reason why I would tend to stop somebody stimming or changing their behaviour is if it is wholly inappropriate, or if it is damaging to themselves, if it disrupts their education or their life. If it doesn't, and it's just a little bit different, then they can crack on, really. But sometimes people pick their own skin. Sometimes people bite themselves as a stim, or it's that self-interest, the head banging into walls. That's a stim that we would change. And don't be afraid to change them, but at the same time, if there is a person that does a stim that is just a little bit socially unacceptable, don't worry about it. I don't even notice them anymore. But it's okay to click, to rock backwards and forwards, to have vocal stims. And that's part and parcel of everybody's lives, and it is ordinary behaviour. I think we've just got to be a bit more accepting of that. The difference between tics and stims: tics are often involuntary, whereas stims tend to be voluntarily, mainly. But also the fact that when you repress them, it can also be really painful, especially for those with tics. Yeah, hopefully that's a little bit of an insight.